What's going on, Kountry Fan Mail? Quick disclaimer before we release this video. Part of this interview was cut out, if I'm just being honest. Kountry Fan Mail is very dedicated in making sure that every artist and every person that comes onto the platform has free speech and able to express themselves, talk your shit, as I like to say, in any way that they need to. However, and also we have to be cognizant about the current status of media, what's going on right now, what's out there, and certain things just should not be discussed on certain platforms. So with that being said, there was a portion of this interview that was cut out and it won't be discussed about. But I did want to be honest with y'all because y'all be honest with me. So thank y'all for tapping in. I hope you enjoy. Yo, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Kluedadon, Kountry Fan Mail podcast, back with the stank breath in the morning medicine. I mean, you haven't heard that in a long time. If you one of the original KFM fans, you wouldn't know what I'm talking about there. But anyways, we back with a very, very dope check-in with a return offender on KFM. He's been on the channel before. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, Yo, thank you again for coming back and checking in for another episode of Kountry Fan Mail. This is episode 121. Yes, episode 121. So yes, thank y'all for tapping in. It's been an amazing journey. So before I get into this interview, something that I wanted to make very apparent. I do not know who majority of the people that listen to my episodes are, which is fine. However, I would really like to know and like to engage with a lot of my listeners, whether it be in the United States and Canada, all around the world. So if you have the opportunity and if you have an Instagram, make sure that you go look at that link below and follow my Instagram. That is Kluedadon, aka is Kluedadon. Make sure that you follow my Instagram, Kluedadon, Kountry Fan Mail, so I can know who you are. We can interact with each other. I can get some ideas. Maybe you could pass me some artists, all that and above. Thank you. Just wanted to throw that out there. Secondly, as you can still hear, I'm still a little under the weather. So please definitely bear with me as we get this interview in because I did not want to miss out on giving y'all the content that y'all are looking for. So with that being said, I have a return offender, as I mentioned before, coming back to the channel. Really glad to be able to tap back in with this cat. My first episode was amazing. Definitely a lot of information exchange back and forth. And you know, he wanted to come back. The people wanted him to come back. So I'm definitely not going to hold the people against that. So with that being said, bringing back my brother to the stage again from Kenya, Africa, Sensical Sense. What's going on, G?
How you doing, man? Am I the first one to come back twice?
No, you're not the first. You're not the first, but there's not too many. There's not too many. You're part of a really exclusive alumni right now.
Okay, all right. So I'm a friend of the show.
Oh yeah, yes, sir, man. You're definitely a friend of the show, man. Definitely a friend of the show. I appreciate you coming back, man, for sure.
Appreciate it, man.
Already, man. So yeah, man, you already know the first question that I asked, man. What was the first song that you listened to when you woke up this morning?
The first song, Higher Power, Kendrick Lamar.
Word, okay. All right. So why that? Why that song? That's a very specific and a very powerful song. So like why that song?
Yeah, that song is deep. First of all, the beat is amazing by J. Cole, and the lyrics are deep. Kendrick goes deep into the black agenda. He goes deep into really Higher Power is just conscious rap, and it has some bars into it. So man, Higher Power is actually my favorite Kendrick song. Higher Power and How Much a Dollar Costs. Those are my favorite Kendrick songs.
Word, okay. How much a dollar? I know. I think President Obama had How Much a Dollar Costs on his he does like a playlist at the end of every year, everything of his presidency. I want to say he had How Much a Dollar Costs on there. That's a really deep song too. That song really kind of is really introspective on so many different views, whether you're the person with the money or the person that's needing the money, or the person who has the opportunity to affect somebody else. You know, it's Kendrick has a way of kind of, you know, really making you think about shit like that.
Yeah, Kendrick is amazing. Let me tell you, Kendrick is. I don't know if I've said this before. I think I've said it in this show. But Kendrick is Kendrick. To Pimp a Butterfly was the album that helped me transition from poetry to rap. So when I heard Pimp a Butterfly, I was so mind blown, and I was like, I need to do rap because it helped me transition from poetry to rap, and I started taking rap seriously. The storytelling,
Mm.
the deep message. I was like, wow. So Pimp a Butterfly is is one of the albums that inspired me to do music in the first place.
Yeah, man. So
Yeah.
I'm glad you got into that. So because I was having a conversation. I think it was just the other day with Pisces, my wife, and I was talking about how hip hop. So we were talking about hip hop and Black culture, and we were saying that hip hop is a part of Black culture, but Black culture is not just hip hop. Like Black culture is so much broader than just hip hop. However, with that being said, I do believe that hip hop itself is the most powerful communication and probably spreads the most. It probably, what's the best way I can say? I think hip hop has the most reach of any genre of music, in my personal opinion. I think that it has really gone anywhere. So I kind of want you to kind of, you know, touch in on that. Whether you agree or you disagree, I just want to know, you know, kind of how you feel about hip hop as far as its reach around the world.
Hip hop is the coolest way of expressing yourself. You cannot think of any any form of expression that is way cooler than hip hop. So hip hop is really the coolest way of expressing yourself. And uh, I am so, now I'm so frustrated when it comes to hip hop, man.
Mm.
I am so frustrated.
Tell me about it. Talk to me about it.
Hip hop is just, oh my God. Are you listening to what's happening nowadays?
I mean, you know, I listen to it. I put it like this. I listen to a lot of hip hop, but I can't say I listen to, you know, I feel like I'm at that age where I can be like, I don't listen to the radio. You know, it's like I really don't. I don't listen to a lot of the new stuff that's out, but I'm aware of it. I'll put it like that. I'm aware of what's happening.
Yeah, yeah, man, like a lot of people tell me, oh, Sensical Sense, why are you so preachy? I'm like, preachy. I will continue being preachy till the day I die. I don't care what anybody says. Listen, the problem is hip hop is very blessed. It's I don't know if it's the only, but it's one of the few, if not the only genre that has its founding fathers still alive till this day. Africa Bambata is
Yeah,
alive.
yeah,
DJ Kool Herc is alive. Uh, Grandmaster Flash is alive. Grandmaster Kaz, all these, these people, these guys are still alive. Melly Mel, these guys are still alive.
yeah.
Hip hop is so special, but the problem is that there's two sides of the coin. The first side of the coin is the corporations don't give a damn about people who are spreading the message, like me, like Rhapsody, like who there are many
For sure. Yeah,
conscious rappers
yeah.
who are really really putting in the message, and they should be getting the respect and the exposure they deserve. But the corporations are owned by white people. Never forget that. It's owned by white people. They will
Fact.
never ever push for a KRS One, or they'll always push for the people we are seeing nowadays. People who are, I mean, hip hop is in a really really bad place, and
I
I'm
mean,
so frustrated.
so I mean, so with that being said, it's like, so because I mean,
we know that there's a lot of people in the game that clearly aren't well, you wouldn't consider conscious rappers, or you wouldn't consider actually putting out necessarily a positive message per se. But it's like you do have the Kendricks, you do have the Coles, you know what I'm saying? You do have, you know what I'm saying, you do have the people. So it's like, do you feel like they only have a certain amount of slots for people to be on that, to be on that level? Or do you feel like that Kendrick was just cool enough to be able to be conscious and be able to be popular, essentially?
They can only allow a few. You understand? But the thing is, me, I'm a revolutionary. I'm a Pan-African. No one is talking about the revolutionary thing. Back in the day, there were a lot. Public Enemy, KRS-One. Nowadays, it's so hard to find someone who is really going into white supremacy and really spreading the message of Pan-Africanism and Garveyism. And honestly, let me just say, I am like when I like so I said the first side of the coin is the young people. The young people uh, who are being promoted by these corporations. The white people put them on the limelight so that they can see so that they can sort of release an agenda of, you see, this is how they act, this is what they say, this is how ignorant they talk, and this is how these black people are.
Mm-hmm.
Now the other side of the coin is the OGs who I was talking about earlier, uh, the pioneers, the experienced ones. Some of them are really speaking up. KRS always, Chris is my favorite hip hop artist of all time,
Yeah.
because not only because of what he does in the studio, but outside the studio. So, but I'm telling you, many of them really don't care. Many of them really don't care. It's either they don't care or they are profiting off of these people who are ruining hip hop. And it's sad, Clue. I'm telling you, for lyricists and for storytellers, and so painful seeing these people, seeing like these people who don't even write a single rhyme. They just go to the studio and mumble.
Yeah.
And I'm working my ass off, coming up with creative bars, creative lyrics, factual lines. It's sad. It's sad. It's very
Yeah.
sad.
So and I can understand the frustration, saying, to an extent, and this is something that I rarely ever do. Something that I rarely ever try to do is try to bring some type of drama from another page into, or another platform into my platform, but just for the sake of conversation. I don't know if you saw where DJ Academics he had made a statement, I guess kind of a disparaging statement about the pioneers of hip hop, saying that they were all dusty and they were all, majority of them were broke, and da 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 da. And LL Cool J had pretty much came, and he, saying, kind of responded to it. And I feel like LL Cool J, even though he's like a second generation pioneer, he's not a first generation, in my personal opinion. He's probably kind of like a little bit of a outlier when it comes to certain of those things, because there's certain people that are from his generation that are truly dusty and broke. They didn't really have a lot to say for it. But LL Cool J kind of spoke about that. He was just like, everybody wasn't that smart on money and contracts and stuff back then, especially at the beginnings of the game. So when we talk about, these OGs who kind of have that moniker of not caring, I wonder if it's as much of not caring, or if it's kind of like they don't get paid enough to care. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like eventually you get to a point where it's kind of like, I feel like this generation is so different, this current generation of kids is so different, because there's no longer respect for the OG. there's no longer a respect for the elder. I feel like, like the generation above us was probably the last generation to really get that respect as elders and OGs. Us, we're not gonna be respected as elders and OGs. So if anybody has that weight right now, or thinks they have that weight right now anywhere, whether that's a game or whether that's the street, go ahead and let that shit ride, because there's some 13-year-old kid over there plotting on you because they do not respect you the way that we respected our elders, in my personal opinion. So like, can you kind of hop on that and like kind of,
Yeah,
music and culturally, the difference in how we kind of do and respect our elders?
it's very true. We need to respect our elders, and LL is one of the people I respect. I respect a number of them. There are many OGs who are really really doing the good work of educating the youth and telling them how it's supposed to be. And LL is one of them. Chris is one of them. Public Enemy, Chuck D, one of them, and there are many others. But I think what I'm trying to say is that, and LL is very very correct. We need to respect our elders. How can you just call them dusty? Excuse me. The reason why you have a podcast right now, the reason why you can sit down and talk about hip hop
Yeah.
is because of people like the people who you're calling dusty. So I feel like that's very disrespectful, and that speaks to the youth. Let me tell you, there are many, many, many people who are of my age in the 20s and in hip hop who are very disrespectful. They don't get they don't get the journey of hip hop. They don't get what these people in the 80s, people like Rakim, people like Eric B, people like Big Daddy Kane, Wu Tang, in the 90s, they don't get what they went through. And even in the 70s, the pioneers, they don't get the journey. So now they're just looking at them like they're just a bunch of dusty folks. And
Mm.
I disagree with that. We need to respect our elders. I mean, look at country music respects the hell out of Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton
They
and
respect the elders. That's
and
facts.
and yeah, and Hank Snow and all these white country artists. Uh, look at rock. They call Elvis Presley the king of rock, and almost half of his music was from black folks.
75 to not 85%, I'd like to say.
Oh, it's even worse.
Yeah,
Do you
it's even
understand?
worse.
It's even worse. And the movie, I watched the Elvis movie, and I was like, wow, these white people know how to clean up their act. I
Oh
say
yeah.
these white people, they know, because I mean, Elvis is a known pedophile. Elvis is a known racist. I mean, Elvis actually suggested to President Nixon that actually there's a story of Elvis suggesting to become a spy so that he can spy on the Black Panther. It wasn't in the movie. In the movie, he's actually depicted crying about Dr. King dying. So they're trying to depict him as
As a good person.
as a good person who loved black people and who no, this guy was a racist. This guy was a racist, and we don't see that. And
You know,
I was like, wow,
you
these
have a
white people
point.
know how to clean up their act.
You have a point with white people, because I feel like so I can't remember who it was that made the comment, and I want to tread real lightly when I make this comment, but people are gonna saying assume or whatever. And he was like, I'm not trying to say that anything what this person did was right. He was like, hey, they're wrong, they're wrong, they're wrong. He was just like, when you look at R. Kelly versus you look at Elvis, or no, I'll say Michael Jackson versus Elvis Presley. I'll use two people who aren't here anymore, right? When it came to the music, Michael Jackson, his career, his life, da 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 da. It comes to music, Elvis Presley, his career, da 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 da. But then when you look at the negative things that they might have done in their life, proven, unproven, all that shit, white people will still ride with Elvis to the day he died. I mean, to the day he died, to forever. versus Michael Jackson. So many people are so ready to throw Michael Jackson away or to throw away his legacy because of things that proven or unproven, saying proven guilt, innocent, all this other shit. They still want to find a way to tear it down. And like I said, I'm not trying to defend anything or anybody that has done anything wrong. If they've done something wrong, then they're wrong. However, and also when you look at white people, they literally ride with their people regardless. And there's unity in that. Like there's unity in that. You can't really deny that. And I wish that, we had that more. I feel like if we had that more, holding people accountable when they're doing something wrong wouldn't be so drawn out and so dramatic. If we were always riding with our people, then things probably wouldn't happen. Bad things wouldn't happen as much. That's just my personal opinion. So it's kind of like it's really difficult. It's really difficult because I feel like in the industry or the culture, everybody loves hip hop. I feel like there's not anywhere that you can look that you don't hear some form of hip hop. Even people that say they don't like rap, I'm like, you're full of shit. You like it because somewhere in your culture you're gonna find it. Whether it's a commercial, whether it's walking down the street, whether it's somebody trying to make a joke. There's always something. Like I remember the same teacher that said that he couldn't understand hip hop would try to make a joke and be like, yo, I'm just like, why are you trying to do that? But you hate the culture. But you're trying to emulate, but you know what I'm saying? You hate the culture, but you're trying to emulate what we do to try to level with us, but you hate it so much, you know what I'm saying? So it's like I don't really believe anybody when they say that they don't like hip hop. I think that everybody in some sort of way has found themselves, assimilating the hip hop in some way.
Yeah, it's very true. And we need, and in addition to that, we need to make sure that we take ownership of hip hop. The problem with hip hop is that we made it and we didn't take ownership towards it. White people owned it, and that is why it is what it is now. Because white people will never do anything that exclusively benefits benefits Black people. Fact. Let me tell you something. This integration is our enemy. How can you tell me that you want to integrate with white folks and Latinos and Asians and any non-Black person? How can you tell me you want to integrate with other communities and yet Africans haven't integrated themselves? Africans haven't even come together. How can you tell me that you want to integrate with white folks, yet you haven't integrated with yourself?
That's a good ass question. I mean, it really, it has me going on, saying like no disrespect to anybody else out there. I just want to put this out there. But when people say the whole black and brown thing, it's like, I don't really hear too many brown people, I guess I'll say the Latino people being like, oh my, black and brown. I hear them talking about brown. Yeah, I hear them talking about, Latino power, which they're in their right to. But I don't really hear them bringing us into the mix too many times, you know what I'm saying? But we're always bringing everybody else into the mix. You know what I'm saying? We're always trying to align ourselves with other people, which is kind of, it's kind of disheartening at times, honestly.
Yeah, let me tell you something. These are the words that Black people should refrain from. Absolutely. I don't want to hear any single African saying the word people of color, saying the word Black and Latino, saying the word diversity, saying the word minority. These are the words that make me cringe whenever I hear Black people say.
Please explain.
No, listen. Black people should learn how to be selfish. Black people should learn how to be selfish. Selfish means we need to look out for our own. We are the avenue that that white people beat us is organization. They're not smart, but they're organized. They are so organized. Africans around the world, we are so smart, but we are not organized.
Listen, that's we are extremely smart. Like when I learned not too long ago, there was some person, I'm gonna assume that they were black. I'm just gonna assume that they were black, and this is not to be racist, but I'm gonna assume they were black because it was a really intelligent thing to do. I learned that not too long ago there was some person that learned how to transfer your balance of food stamps, which I don't know if y'all have food stamps in Kenya, but food stamps are like as a government assistance, you know, money that you get on a card that you can spend on, you know, food essentially. Somebody figured out how to transfer your balance from food stamps over the Cash App. So people were literally getting money, like, you know, actual money for whatever. Now, granted, I'm just like, wow, okay. Some people might look at this and be like, oh, those are crooks, those are, you know, those are criminals, da. And but I'm also like, it takes a really smart person to learn how to fucking do that. And it's just like, if we could do things like that, it really just it amazes me the things that I know that we could accomplish, you know what I'm saying, once we're better organized. So what I have to ask, and this, you know, unfortunately this has to be, you know, one of the last questions, I have to get ready for work. But with that being said, with all the amazing, beautiful things that we've either known Black people to accomplish already, or the infinite possibilities that we can accomplish if we become more organized, what would be your message to Black people around the world to kind of assist that happening?
Number one, Pan-Africanism. Let me tell you something. Pan-Africanism, you know, when people hear Pan-Africanism, they normally say, oh, this guy is too revolutionary, it's too radical. Yes, it's radical. It's supposed to be radical. The thing is, an abnormal reaction to an abnormal situation is totally normal. You see, Black people are in an abnormal situation. We are the most Africans are the most disrespected people in the world. When I tell you now, when I'm in Kenya, let me tell you something about Kenya. Kenya is a very beautiful place. And because each and every country in Africa has almost common problems. The problem is, a white man comes with equipment. He comes to maybe Kenya and he says, you know what? Because we have the equipment to drill this oil, we want to take all of this oil and we're going to give you a royalty deal. So now this oil is ours, and we're just going to give you 10 or 20% of 10 or 20% of the profits of the sales. Now let me ask you, how can you give up your oil just like that for a royalty deal? What these African leaders should do is they should sign a partnership. They say the oil is ours. Yes, you have the equipment. That's good. But in order for that, we have to split 60-40. 60 because this 60 because this land that you are drilling oil is ours. 40 because you have the equipment. But these people are taking royalty deals. I'm telling you, if you go to Nigeria now and you see the amount of pollution that Chevron and Shell is doing to the oil reserves, it's sad. And then
I learned about that in Ghana too, like the burn boys and they burn the burn pits and shit, and you know, so yeah, it's sickening. It's really sickening.
It's sickening. And so you're talking about the solution. Solution number one is Africa needs to have a common currency. A common currency. Africa has 54 states. Back in the late 1800s, right after, you know, the thing about white folks is that they stopped slavery in America. Then a few years after, they said, you know what? We still need raw materials for our industries. So instead of us shipping Black people from Africa through the Atlantic to America, let's go to Africa and let's colonize them. So that's what happened. They chopped up. So Germany and the European powers sat down and they were like, you know what? We need to do this in a very strategic way. They chopped up Africa into the 50 plus states that we're seeing now. Now, let me ask you a question. How can a small country a small country like Rwanda or Burundi or Eswatini compete with a big country like India or China or even the US. It's impossible. Pan-Africanism is simply we get rid of all these borders, all these East African Commission, West African bodies. We need to get them out, 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 out. We need to have a common currency. I keep on seeing African leaders talking about free trade. How can you talk about free trade yet you don't even have a common currency? A common currency will ensure that African Continental Free Trade Agreement is totally possible. Then when we have a common currency, it will be so easy to invite you people in, our distant relatives, the African diaspora. Now you people will be comfortable to bring your money in and invest in Africa and invest in the motherland and invest home.
Yeah.
Why? I mean, like, Pan-Africanism is my definition of Pan-Africanism is the unity of all Africans, those at home here in the motherland and those abroad. You guys are brothers and sisters. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not African. You are African to the bone, just like me. You see, Africa, you know, for you to be an African, you don't need to be born in Africa. Africa needs to be born in you.
For sure. For sure, man. Like I said, you said it, you said it the last time we spoke, and saying it again this time. Like I said, I really appreciate you saying that, and I know there's a lot of people around the world that can definitely, hear that and take solace in that, because there is a lot of there's I feel like as Africans we're one of the not the only, but one of the only cultures, or people that has just been so separated and split up that so many of us just do not know anything about our home, or really where we've come from, our people, our lineage, our ancestry, so it's really, it's something that, we can definitely hold on to, man. And like I said, I appreciate, they're not going to share that with us, but again, bro, I appreciate you coming on, man. Like I know we can talk, for hours on this, and we're going to do it again
all day, man.
We're definitely going to do it again.
Yeah,
sure.
we can.
I'm going to have you back on here. And but yeah, man, really quick, let everybody know where they can follow you and where they can listen to your music.
Okay. In Instagram, it's at Real Sensical Sense, and Twitter is at Sensical Sense. I'm only on Instagram and Twitter. I can't deal with TikTok. Maybe later on, but it's too much. It's too much for me, man. But remember, the message that I want to leave, my final message: Black people, be selfish and look out for your own. It's not bad to be selfish. Other communities do it. Why not you? Refrain from the words people of color. Refrain from the words marginalized, Black and Latino, diversity. Refrain from all of those words. Focus on, it's not Black and Latino, it's Black and Black. Full stop. Nothing more, nothing less.
Already, man. Talk your shit, man. You heard it. Black people, be selfish, take care of your own. Kluedadon, Kountry Fan Mail podcast, Sensical Sense. Make sure that y'all follow my Instagram, Kluedadon. Thank y'all for tapping in, and I'm gonna start this reel as soon as I find my mouse. And here we go. Thank you. Appreciate you coming in, bro.